Hello, beautiful people! If you've watched some of my videos before, you'll know that I've played New World on and off since it first launched in 2021, and I, like many, had seen Wars as inaccessible content that only the top few could participate in. From the outside looking in, it always seemed like sort of a good old boys and girls club, so I never even really attempted to war. Of course, the only thing actually stopping me from warring was myself. But I mean, there was a reason for it. At first, it was the unshakable shell company days, which they did change. Then after that system was a thing in the past, I heard stories of people having to apply just to be on the bench, spend way more gold than I'd ever made on any of my characters on builds, and even pay for spots on war rosters, and I wasn't interested in having to kiss booty cheeks to experience content. So I didn't. But I was definitely always interested, even if I wasn't actively thinking about war or pursuing it. I definitely wanted to war, and so when the opportunity presented itself, I jumped on it immediately. Fast forward to Season 6 of New World. When Fresh Start Round 2 began, I decided to hop onto a new character and started fresh on Pangea, without my friends, without any purpose or direction, and fully unaware of the chaos and mess that would ensue. Eventually, I would find out that everything I thought I knew about war and war companies was somehow both completely wrong and also very true at the same time. I joined a war company. This is what happened. Like on every other brand new Fresh Start server, war companies started forming immediately, and I had literally zero intentions of joining one. I was just kind of vibing. Like I said, there was absolutely nothing for me on this server. I only chose this one because I really like the name. You know, Pangea, the supercontinent. Anyways, I stream on Twitch and essentially made this character to have something new to work on stream. Before we continue, let me introduce you to her. This, my friends, is Madam Milk. She's a very beautiful, intelligent woman with the fullest beard east of the Mississippi. She kicks major booty, eats nails for breakfast without any milk, and doesn't take nothing from nobody. She also wants me to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year, so if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for Madam Milk. Shameless plug over, let's get back to the story. Even though I didn't plan on joining any companies, I went ahead and signed up with the Syndicate as soon as I could because I bleed purple, baby. In all of my years playing New World on all of my characters, I have never once joined the Marauders or the Covenant before, and I was not about to start now. I just don't have it in me to be a greenie weenie, and yellows kinda scare me. So I was skilling and chilling, minding my own business, probably working on the MSQ, when I saw a company recruiting new, inexperienced war players. They were offering to teach anyone of any level how to war. All we had to do was join and show up to things. And listen and try and, you know, all that other stuff. I don't even think I thought about it. I just asked for an invite and didn't even realize until I got into the Discord server that I was joining CWA. I knew this company. They were Chicken Mans on my main server. The company I joined was called Chicken Minis, so in hindsight, I should have been able to put two and two together if I had thought about it for literally even 1 second. Question, what inspired you, or I don't know who it was who came up with the idea to do the Chicken Minis, but how did that start? Because that's a really cool thing that you guys did for people, actually.
So that was my idea. I had a company before, like a development company called 3 out of 10.
Okay.
So 3 out of 10 had two iterations. The first one was basically a company that started off did not have a lot of war experience, but like we just tried our best to learn from veteran players, try to improve, and that was kind of like my starting point where I got noticed by like better companies, and I got picked up by a company called Bark for Heels, and they essentially were like my first big company I got into. But if it wasn't for 3 out of 10, then I just wouldn't have had a shot in the war scene. And like back then, like only like the top like 1% of players really got into the war scene.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of there's not enough servers with not enough territories to go around. So like it was a little bit better with like Fresh Start because there's a lot more servers. Mm-hmm. So like there were some companies that were able to pop up and have their own like whirl at the war scene, but back then it wasn't like that. And then again, I was like, all right, second iteration of 3 out of 10, I came back and I said, I want to give back to the community. Like, I got noticed in the war scene, and I want to like help develop players and get them noticed. So I did that again, like mid 2024, back in May, and then I stopped that around like September, right before Fresh Start happened, and then. We're doing the Chicken Man's Company, the CWA, Chickens with Attitudes, and I was thinking to myself, like, I'm not playing Fresh Start to, win a server, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm here to have fun, play with my friends. And the thing that happened was we were going to originally have the CWA company be like that sort of like, hey, we're going to have like, some console players, some newer players in here, we're just going to have fun. And it just filled up really quickly. So that's where I just decided, hey guys, can I just make a second company and just, keep with the chicken theme? But like I just want to like help new players learn how to war and play the game, and we can just have fun that way. And this would allow like players from the like first company to come in and like also teach people in their respective roles. So like that's where the idea came from, and I like hoped we could have had it going longer because I was really hopeful for that company. Like I really liked the energy, and it was just so cool seeing like both companies out there having fun.
It was fun, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where the idea came from. Like I just wanted to give back for the opportunity I had and try to help some other players to get that same opportunity that I got.
Chicken Minis was my very first taste of the true endgame of New World Aeternum, and boy was it delicious. CWA was also putting in a lot of work on this project. There were teaching sessions in Discord before the wars. They spent a lot of their time trying to show us the ropes and build a strong foundation. They were patient as hell with people who had never even looked at anything about war before, forget about being one. I mean, they were just taking their time and building this thing from the ground up. And I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of funny seeing people of all levels in war, and I mean all levels. We had level 20s to 40s duking it out in the best way we could, and furiously spamming the MSQ outside of war, trying to not be the last to get to 65. I was honestly having a blast. Times were good. I was riding the Chicken Minis high. But unfortunately, like most highs, it didn't last very long. Not that I would know anything about that. CWA at the time owned several territories, and us minis started taking them as well. It wasn't always because we were the better players, a lot of the times we just had numbers. We were steamrolling people, but the server was new and there wasn't a lot of real competition. And I mean, of course, there were plenty of times where we got steamrolled as well. That wasn't so fun for the veteran players, I can imagine, but for a complete noob like me, it was great because I was still trying to figure out where Oppo and Bon were. I was running around like a chicken with its head cut off on the battlefield, keeping with the chicken theme, of course. So I needed the competition to be equally as bad. I was also broke as a joke, and my war build was... well, let's just say I tried my best with the gold that I had at the time. We all gotta start somewhere, guys. It's okay to be broke as long as you don't stay broke, right? Unfortunately, CWA pretty quickly decided to move on to bigger and better servers. The grass just happened to be much greener somewhere else. They moved to Hudson Land to go throw hands with some better, or let's say different competition. Even though CWA left the server, Hawks decided to stay on Pangea and continue the Chicken Minis project. Cosmic Scales, another war company, was still on the server and willing to give us a new home. So, the Chicken Minis became the Cosmic Brownies and the learning experience continued. Unfortunately, I was only meant to be in a short-term relationship with the Cosmic Brownies. You see, Cosmic already had one foot out the door already, and it didn't take long at all for them to leave for milk and never come back just like Dad. No, I'm kidding. Well, I'm kidding about Cosmic, not about Dad. They actually invited the Brownies to come with them to Hudson Land and continue the project there. I personally didn't feel like transferring. I mean, I've already spent enough on this game, and I wasn't super committed to this Fresh Start character, so I thank them for the opportunity and I wish them well. And apparently they did pretty well.
I carried on the Cosmic Brownies company over to Hudson Land, and I mean it's still going on technically. They're called like the Parms. We kept the food theme going. So they're the Parms, but people came in to like destroy our company, quote unquote. So I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm like,
oh my
I don't
gosh.
want. I am not in the mood for this. So when we came to Hudson Land, we were getting farmed, like 1 point farmed, and compared to when we were on Pangea, like we were steamrolling. So like on Hudson Land, we spent the first couple of months, or like I would say months, maybe like the first 3 weeks, literally just VOD reviewing, going over, slamming wars, and each time we got a little bit better, bit better. Not to the fault of the people on Pangea, it's just that like it would have taken some like basically other people of like what I was trying to do, also trying to do that on Pangea, and there just wasn't that happening. So that's the primary reason why we did it.
And that's where I left it for a while. My character was 65, I had a baby warbell going but no company to war with, and I didn't really feel like bissing this character out for no reason. With CWA and Cosmic both gone, my purpose for continuing to play this character was gone, and I abandoned it. It was a pretty good experience. I mean, I had fun, I learned a lot, and I made a few friends along the way. What surprised me the most was that I had the impression before going into this experience that the people who warred in New World were all just the most toxic, horrible people that played the game. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of horrible, disgusting toxicity in the war scene, but we're gonna get into that in the next video because the next chapter of my war experience is a little crazy. Maybe I was naive, but I was pleasantly surprised that a lot of these people were actually super nice, very helpful, and when I saw things from their point of view, a lot of rumors and behaviors that I had heard about before getting into war started to make sense. One of the things that I noticed was everyone said that people who warlog are just awful, elitist, and they're toxic, and while I've encountered a lot of that, a lot of you guys are chill as hell and really cool and very nice and just really normal and not mean at all.
I do appreciate that. I will say there are some toxic war players, like warloggers, quote unquote. But I'm just going to go back to the reality of that there's no practice wars, right? So at the end of the day, on a server, you only get one defense and one attack on a character on your entire account. So if you have multiple characters on one server, if you have an attack on one, that attack cooldown goes on cooldown for the other character on the same server, on the same Steam account. So like that's where the term warlogging came from, because people started buying and making like multiple Steam accounts and then having multiple characters across different Steam accounts on the same server. That way they can have multiple attack wars on the same server. And the reason why they have to do that is because there's not enough servers. The player base isn't as big anymore, and they just want content. And, a lot of people like to say, well, the warloggers don't let us play the game, this and that. Well, it's, like if the war is only 30 minutes. So imagine like playing a game you really like to have fun in, and then you're only able to play it for 30 minutes. Like it sucks because like, these people are, I'm guilty of it too. I have multiple accounts and I have, probably like 10 characters, maybe more, but like we're just trying to get our own content.
Now, I'm not trying to convince you one way or the other, but like any group in life, there's going to be good and bad apples. Fortunately for me, I happened to start my journey with what I consider to be some pretty decent apples. And that, my friends, is where this story ends. For now. This was only the beginning, and the best and worst was yet to come. I ended up continuing to war and got to witness probably the most toxic part of war firsthand. So if you're enjoying the content, please comment, like, share, and subscribe because this story will continue, and you're not going to believe what happens next. So far, I presented you pretty much nothing but sunshine and rainbows, but there is a very, very, very dark side to war. Toxicity, drama, backstabbing, robbery. There's a little bit of everything. I'm not sure where this story is going to end, but I am sure where it's going next. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, be kind to one another. See you next time, friends.